Wilkin and Sons. I know we talk about strawberries, but just look, I am down at another area of the farm where raspberries are growing. Now, it's an interesting story, raspberries, and guess who? I've got Andrey, yes, who looks after the
Hello.
farm, Andrey. Now, tell us more, because if I was growing raspberries in my garden, they might not be, these are nearly 9 foot high. So tell us how do they come in and when do you grow them and what's the story of this batch of raspberries?
So raspberries, there's few types we could call them. We you've got long cane and primer cane are the main ones, but
That
then
sounds confusing.
it is
So what have we got here then?
here we have a long cane,
So
and
tell us more. I mean, what's a long cane mean to
so
somebody?
long cane is a production of the cane stars the year before. It's produced outside on the field. Cane is grown to a certain size, and then at that stage, leaf will drop late in the autumn, and it's put in cold store. Then it's kept in cold store under certain condition, minus 2 degrees, for example, for a number of months. And then what you can do with long cane, it gives you that flexibility. You can pull out the cane when you actually want to pick your raspberries to come. So in our case, we have like three staggered planting months. We started beginning of March, then we moved beginning of April, and then beginning of May. And it's exactly the same cane, just longer storage for some of it, and then we'll break a different time of the year and give us production, kind of a, a longer window production from exactly the same plant or the
Now,
same cane.
now if I look at, say, there, the base of a plant there, I can see it's brown. If I follow it up, even that tall cane, yeah, I can see it in there. It's nearly 6 foot high, isn't it?
Yeah,
So they come
yes,
in 6 foot high as a
they, they,
long cane.
they,
Literally is a long
yeah,
cane,
it's a
isn't it?
long cane. Yeah, that's
But then from that, there are loads and loads of branches coming up the same way. And what do you just tuck them in under the wires?
yeah. You just tag them under, and we've got here. It's strings basically. So when the fruit comes in and starts, to get some weight, that will drop down. If you don't have, they will just snap. If you don't have that support of string, the branches they will snap from the base, and
And
you've
that's no
got
good.
nothing.
You've
And
lost your
that's no
fruit
good.
then.
You've got all your fruit. Yes,
So this batch of raspberry, has it got a what's its variety, this one?
it's called Kwanzaa.
Kwanzaa. Now you wouldn't see Kwanzaa for sale necessarily, would
No,
you?
it's a commercial variety, and it grows. The vigor and everything is completely different to, yeah, I guess
What
the
we grow in
garden
our
herbs.
gardens.
Yeah, and it's more sensitive as well. You have to protect that it's grown or made for this kind of environment. It's protected with tunnels and everything. So yeah,
It really works well. So first batch, these were planted in, you said in
beginning of March.
beginning of March. Now we've got berries forming. The other thing, if I'm quiet, I don't think anybody will be able to hear it, but I can and you can. The bees, they're everywhere, aren't they?
Yeah, the bees
What?
love raspberries. If you have a strawberries next door or some other crop, bees will be here in the raspberries. They just, for some reason, it's more pollen, more nectar in the flowers. But yeah,
And you don't put any extra bees in here
no
at all.
extra bees at all. You don't need to. They just attract the bees from all the vicinity around the
They're
farm.
everywhere. Now here we've got some forming, haven't we? We've got the red starting to come here. So when will you actually be start picking this area, do you think?
So we will be going through next week and picking the first berries, and slowly hopefully weather will improve and we're gonna get higher temperature, and we'll start picking more often, like every other day.
Now, I always remember the story in strawberries is that you get it so that the pickers can pick easily at the height, so that there's less stress on your arms. Now, here we've actually got quite high up raspberries, haven't we?
We have
How
an
do we handle that?
so basically when the weight when the raspberries ripen and everything, there will be quite a bit of weight, and the branch will just come down naturally.
So
And
it's
it
not a
comes
bad
to a
height.
height, not as a bad height actually. It's good height. We at the moment it's all upright, you can see them, but when they're fully loaded and everything, all these branches will actually come down, and sometimes that's why we're having these strings. Otherwise, the whole crop will just flop down and cover each other. So that's the technique of or the aim of actual uh, chain.
Oh, I see. It's chained
And you can see the chain
it's on a
with,
metal
yeah,
pole, holding on the tunnel pole, and that holds them everything up.
yeah, and you've got certain amount of lines you put through to support the branches
So that's
or the
really important.
laterals.
It's the support
It's
that's so essential.
support is
And possibly we
very
don't do enough of that at home, actually, because often when you grow them in the garden, they all fall over if you don't put wires around them, isn't it?
correct. You don't need to. Some varieties put bigger laterals, some of the small lateral varieties with the small lateral you don't need the support because they were very close to the cane, and they don't break that easy.
So what happens to these canes when they finish fruiting this year?
So this cane, it will be for next year. We'll take it. Normally, we grow the cane for up to 2 years. So the first year you've got a long cane, laterals are coming out. You're picking the fruit, and for the second year we just cut the cane right down at the base, and then let the new cane come through for the year, and we call it a primer cane. So we pick it towards the end of the year.
So we better go and see some primer canes.
Absolutely, let's go.
Just thought while I'm walking up to the second year crop to show you that here are some tall canes that we were talking about earlier with Andrey, and you can see that these were planted in May and have a lot less growth, so they'll produce raspberries later in the season to spread the picking, which is so important when you're selling a soft fruit or even making jam. Now, primer cane is a raspberry cane that's in its second year. You can see they're all under polythene, as we discussed with Andrey. Now, I come round to Andrey, who looks after the farm. Now, Andrey, we're standing here, and if we look down the line there, it doesn't look, in comparison with the others, there's nothing in here, is there?
Yeah, it looks empty, isn't it?
Yeah,
but you know, if you come here in 2 months' time, all this will be, you know, filled up right to the top, and at that stage the cane will start to produce raspberries right from the top right down to the base almost, and that's the cane or primer cane production, what we call it, basically. So late in the season you start from absolutely nothing.
So if we look at, well, there's one there, I mean that one there, you can see that it's actually been cut to ground level.
Yeah, you cut the long cane or the old cane which we cropping the year before. You cut it right to the base of the compost, and then let the new canes come through from the root system. Or you can achieve that if you buy just roots, raspberry roots, and you can achieve exactly the same result.
Do you leave these in situ? No, sorry. If we go back to where we were,
yeah,
long canes.
Yeah.
If the long canes, when they're finished, you'll cut them down as you have here, and do you leave them in that same position in that tunnel, or do you move them and then put them back?
No, we're gonna leave them in the same, because you don't want to move them around. Lots of labor is unnecessary. So basically, this year, next year when we take this out, we'll put the long cane here, and those tunnels will become a primer cane next year. So it's like rotation. The field will start 1, 2, 3, and it will be 3, 1, and 2, 2, and yeah, and so the opposite, yeah, and so on.
Now, I'm looking around, and you can see you go through here with a mower, don't you, and cut.
Correct.
How do you control weed, or don't you? I'm not being rude here, but there is a bit of weed, isn't there?
It is a bit of weed, and it's always, you know, you can't stop. It's nature. The seeds are blown by, you know, the wind and everything, and they grow. We just mow it, and then closer to the pots, we'll go with a streamer, because the mower can't get out of, start pushing the pots, or, you know, take them out. Basically with a streamer and hand weeding. We can't use any herbicide here, because it's very close to the crop. We don't like doing that at all, otherwise it will lift. And
you're quite keen on not using herbicides and insecticides, aren't you, as well?
We actually haven't used any herbicides for the last, I would say, 15, 20 years since we moved into pot and bag production. And insecticides is the same. There's a lot of biological control available on the market, so we're using all biology to combat our pests. And of course, the only thing is left fungicides. We're trying our best to reduce them, and raspberry actually don't need much. You
As
know,
long as they got,
if
isn't it good air
yeah,
circulation?
good air circulation, protection from the rain, and you don't need to do much in terms of yeah, using plant protection products.
So you will be picking raspberries possibly middle of June. You start good crop middle of June,
Yeah, good
middle
picking
to end,
middle of June will be a good picking. At that stage will be a lot of raspberries, and we'll finish with this lot here
which will be when do you think?
end of October.
End of October. That's a good run, isn't it?
Absolutely.
June to October.
Yeah, we would like to have, once we start how we position or how we planted the crops, we want to have continuity of supply throughout the entire season.
And are you ahead this year with the weather or on the raspberries, do you
On the
think?
raspberries, it's not as the strawberries. We are ahead by a few days, by a couple of days, but not as much as the strawberries.
Well, I look forward to seeing those raspberries in the shops because I know some go to the shops, don't they, locally?
They are.
And the rest go for jam.